and welcome back to another video. Today's video we're going to be speaking about how to let God guide you in your healing journey. This is a video I've been wanting to do for the longest of time, but I feel like today is finally the day that we get to do a video like this. I want to speak about how intentional and this topic actually means so much to me. I have gone through this and where I've learned on how to include God in my healing journey and in my journey of love and self-love and of solitude, finally understanding and seeing where it is that I needed God in my life. Now, I've made the biggest mistake I can say I've made is trying to go through a healing journey on my own. But I'm here to tell you that you definitely need God in that healing journey. So before we do get started with the video, please don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you're notified when I do release new videos. And without further ado, let us get straight into this video. So excited. I was so excited to record this video. I've been feeling it, and it just came to me this morning that I felt like I wanted to record this video. When you're going through a season of healing and a season of learning, especially when it comes from healing from heartbreaks, we always tend to think that we can do it on our own. But that is where the mistake is. Being a lover of God and having faith in God, and how I've learned and how I've grown in this year so far, and in the past 2 years of learning and of healing and of growing and being more intentional with my relationship with God. The first year I tried to do this made me so uncomfortable. I was angry, I was confused, I was going through rejection at that time, and liking someone or having feelings for someone and then facing rejection, and that's being my first heartbreak, and going through it and not understanding what it is that I was going through at the time. I finally decided that I needed God in it. I was going through a lot of questions, a lot of confusion, a lot of anger, frustration, pain and hurt that I couldn't even put into words of what it is that I was going through. I couldn't even explain what I was going through. Quick side note, if my glasses do look tinted or brown or weird, it's because of the lighting. My glasses do tint with sunlight, so when the sun reflects on the glasses, so it immediately just tints. So please bear with me for the sake of the tint, but I am not gonna lie, the sun is looking good today, so bear with me. We have not had sun in such a long time, so I figured that this would be the perfect day to shoot a video with the sunlight reflecting, so just bear with me. Getting back on topic, and understanding where it is that I wanted God and dealing with it. I tried so much to go through that healing journey. I tried so much to go through it on my own. I tried the hardest. I worked out, I journaled, I read my word, I jumped, I ate healthy, I didn't eat properly, I was starving myself, and I just felt more burnt out. But when you include God in your healing journey and your intention of spending time with God, it changes your perspective. There's a quote that I heard from a video that I watched not so long ago that said, you don't change to draw close to God. You draw close to God to change. And when that clicked in my mind, it was like, it makes so much sense. Sometimes you think you're going to change and then you're going to draw close to God and you're going to glow up. No. Sometimes you have to draw close to God in order for God to heal you and in order for God to change you, to change your habits, your character, your actions, your behavior, and the way that you approach things. And in that season, I decided, you know what, I wanted to be intentional about spending time with God, drawing close to God and learning about who God is and what He can do in my life and the amount of changes He's made in my life. And honestly, reflecting back at it now, when I'm speaking about this and the thoughts flooding in my mind of how intentional I've become with it, it makes me so emotional and yet excited when I speak about this, because I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what you are facing in your life right now, whether you're going through a heartbreak or just a difficult season in general. Let this video be your sign to include God in your journey. Don't go into it thinking that if I heal and if I just read my word for 10 minutes. No. Be so intentional with including God in your healing journey. Let Him guide you. When I started my healing journey and including God in it and being more intentional about spending time with God, God helped me heal the areas of my life where these emotions was coming from, where this hurt, the frustration and the questions was coming from in my life. He helped me heal that. He helped me focus on those areas of my life where it was coming from, especially the triggers where it was coming from. God helped me heal that a lot. God, when you ask if Lord, if there's anything that I need to heal in my life, God will show you. Sometimes He might not show you in the exact moment, but He will show you. He will guide you and He will lead you through it. Thinking that and in that time, my total idea of a glow up and of healing was gonna be posting the pictures, losing the weight, glowing up, getting the clear skin, the healthy hair, the fashion senses, and all of those things. Let me tell you, God gave me the biggest correction of my life regarding this, and posting the pictures on the social media and then letting them see it and like, this is what you must. But when God takes you through it and He takes you completely, He gives you the biggest blow and the biggest shock of your life, because it ends up when I decided to take God seriously and allowing Him to heal me and guide me through this journey, that is when the decision and the steps came in my life, where I started working more on the self-love. I started working more on the growth. I started working more on things that are pent up pain and hurt that I've been just shoving in since I was younger, since I was in primary school, or whatever traumas or insecurities I had to deal with, I dealt with. That is what God does. When God takes you through a season of healing and when you allow God to guide you, God is not going to make you get the physical glow up to prove a point to that person this is what they lost. God takes you through it in a way of healing every single thing, getting to the root of the problem that you're dealing with on the inside, getting to the triggers, the insecurities, the lack of confidence, why you don't love yourself, why you don't value yourself. When you allow God to guide you through it, it makes you have more compassion and sincerity in your life, not just for yourself, but for the people that comes in your life. Everyone tries to be their best selves every single day, and at the end of the day, when I started healing more, I started having more compassion and forgiveness and peace towards that person. I was so angry at what had happened or what I went through at that time. But when I allowed God to guide me through it and heal me, that completely shifted. Instead, I gained more confidence in myself. God showed me how valuable I am and how worthy I am and how deserving I am of love and how precious and rare I am. And in that, started building more forgiveness, more compassion, more understanding of what it is, and more compassion for the person that hurts you in your life, that you end up praying more for them, that if they pop in your mind, you just say a short prayer, you say a prayer for them, God guide them, God heal them and bless them in their life. And that is the beauty of it. When you allow God to guide you, you don't lead it with anger or frustration or pent up or hurt. You lead it with forgiveness, you lead it with peace, letting go of them, not in anger, not in peace, but letting them go in forgiveness and utter love. Because if God loves you, what makes you think you cannot give the person that hurt you the love that you know they need in their life? And when you allow God to guide you, it makes you, God takes you through a season of what it is truly and genuinely like for you to trust and rely on God for everything. In every aspect of your life, God will take you through it to make you see the beauty of what it is to rely truly on God. Sometimes God can separate you from the friends, from your friend groups, from people in your life, even sometimes from family members, whatever the case might be. Or especially when it comes to certain aspects of your life, what it is to fully rely on God and to take care of yourself. In instances when God in instances of times when you feel like you don't even have the strength to go through the healing journey anymore, that is in those moments when God will give you the strength to go through it. Not so long ago, I was so emotional and I was so grateful, because every single time I reflect back on where I come, how far I've come in my life, how far I've grown, how much I've learned, every single time that I reflect on that, and every single time that I pay attention to everything it is that I was facing and that I was going through, the hurt that I was experiencing, and now when I look back at it, I see, man, I couldn't have done it without God. I could not have done it without God, because I was so emotional and I was so grateful, but yet I was shedding tears so much because of how grateful I am to God and how He's led me through it. I don't even think I would be able to do it on my own. I know I won't be able to do it on my own, because if I did it on my own, all that I would have towards that person would have been anger, would have been questions that I needed the answers to. But if it was because God led me through it and I asked God to guide me in healing this, I now walk in utter peace. I walk in love for that person. And I walk more in a sense of being more grateful and more strengthened, because it's in that it becomes my testimony of how God has strengthened me and how God has led me through that season of understanding and feeling like I just wanted to give up, and I didn't, because God strengthened me in those times. What it is to fully rely on God in a season of healing, that when God guides you, all of us expect the glow up of losing the weight, getting the healthy hair, the healthy skin, getting the fashion changes, and then posting the pictures and then showing them this is what you must. But when God takes you through something, and when God heals you, or when God takes you through a healing journey, God shifts your entire perspective of it. Takes you through the internal work first, because that is how it's supposed to be. When you allow God to guide you in a healing journey, He makes you go through the internal work first, getting to the root of each and every problem, every trigger, every insecurity, every self doubt, every self question, lack of self trust. But in order for you to get to the root of the problem of why you are hurting so much, the questions that you have of what had happened to you, of why this person hurt you so much, why are you experiencing this more intensely than any other person or more intensely than them, because God is helping you get to the root of the problem. One time I cried so much and I was like, Lord, it's so unfair. This person gets to move on, this person doesn't even care about anything or feel anything or any sort of remorse or anything about what had happened, but I am just struggling and sometimes grabbing my chest and shouting at God, because why am I facing this on my own when this person's going through absolutely nothing? Until I realized until I learned, God makes you get to the root of every single pain that you face in your life. He makes you go and figure out what the root of the problem is. And when God took me to the root of my problem, He made me work a lot on where I was people pleasing a lot, why I was people pleasing, a lot of my insecurities, lack of confidence, why I didn't love myself enough, why I didn't trust myself enough, why I didn't see myself as valuable or as lovable as I am, or how to detach from these sorts of behaviors and actions in my life. And that is when God showed me these things. So it made me realize a lot of what it is actually like, that how God has been teaching me through a journey of healing, what it is like to trust in God more, and what it is to rely on God for provision and for everything that you need in your life in those moments. And going through the things and reflecting a lot on it, when you go through a season of healing, and I always expected this and I thought this was a healing journey. For a lot of people, for a lot of people, a healing journey is going to look like them losing weight, glowing up, driving their dream cars, their success, and just flourishing in life, right? But for most of us, or when you include God in it, or in God in a healing journey, it's more so looks as if nothing is changing on the physical yet, but everything is changing on the internal and inside of you. When I experienced it the first time, I was expecting myself to lose the weight, glow up, and then show them what they must, right? The second time I experienced something like this, or the same experience came up again for the second time in my life, it changed completely. Although a lot of the times my mentality was like, I'm gonna glow up and I'm gonna show you what you lost. But it was completely wrong. When God shows you, when God guides you, it's more so a way of working on the things that has hurt you since the beginning of your child and since the beginning of your childhood, that you couldn't understand then, but is all coming up now as you're getting older, as you need to work on yourself, how to learn to heal your inner self, how to comfort your inner self, and how to learn love your inner child, making sure that your inner child feels safe again and trusts you again and feels compassion again. That through all of those things, it was through that God was teaching me. And when God teaches you things like this, it makes you see that when God takes you through a journey of healing, although the outside might look like nothing has changed, the inside has changed completely. When I went through the experience for an experience similar to what I went through the first time, when I went through it for the second time again, my perspective changed. I was able to recognize the mixed signals and the behaviors that I couldn't recognize from before. I was able to set boundaries in place. I was able to be detached from the situation and observe more, intentionally observing more. That if I was am I putting myself in harm's way again, or am I putting myself in a safe zone, or am I just ignoring these things? That is what it was actually like to trust God in a season of healing and in a season of learning and of growing. That if you're trusting God for something in your life, this is what it's going to look like. God is going to take you through a hiding season where He pulls you away in order to show you the things that you need to work on, the things you need to heal, the things you need to experience and actually embrace in order to grow and learn to take care of yourself and to love yourself more. The more that I reflected on this, is the more that I saw how God actually works. God is not going to change the outside features first, but because we want to glow up, that is always what we're expecting. But sometimes it's more so first working on the inner self, on your inner self and your inner being. How you're going to take your relationship seriously with God, not expecting it, but being intentional about how you spend time with God. That is what it is like. Don't expect a healing journey to be about the physical changes first, but expect it to always be about the internal work that needs to be done first. If you think about the things that comes up in your life, the things that comes in your life and the experiences you sometimes go through is a reflection on the things you need to heal in yourself. And once you've healed those things, maybe then the right opportunities will come, the changes will come, the physical changes comes, the glow up comes, the weight loss comes, whatever you're expecting in your glow up journey or your healing journey. And that's the thing that I started learning, is that with God, He's always going to make you work on your inner self first. Work so strongly on your internal self first. With full utter confidence, I say this: work first on your inner self. When you're going through a season of healing, first work on who you are, who you want to become. Working on your inner self. How are you going to trust yourself again? How are you going to build your self-worth again? How are you going to build your self-value again? How you trust yourself again, and how you make your inner child feel safe again? How are you going to make your inner child feel safe again, to realize and to know, if I say that I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. How to take your relationship seriously with God, that through that God blesses you, God heals you, God guides you, God gives you that peace that you've always been praying for when you were shedding tears. How many times you are praying for something and wishing for the peace and contentment that you want in your life, to just be at peace and okay with your self-love, and learning it and taking it through that, to be patient and content with where I am right now. That is all came through the nights that I've cried, the times I cried in front of God, pleading with God to just take this pain away, to just let me heal, to now being in a place of utter peace and contentment with and having patience, that if the physical things that I've prayed for, or the certain things that I wish I had, will come eventually. But sometimes the physical cannot come when the inner still has work to be done, because you need to be equipped on your inner being, to be able to handle whatever God has in store for you, to be able to handle the right person that God has for you in your life, or whoever you end up being with for the rest of your life. That is what it is to let God guide you through it. Because when God guides you, and letting God guide you, allowing God to guide you in your healing journey, God makes you go through the root of every problem, of every single pain that you're experiencing in your life, before the physical changes comes. And that's what I expected a lot of the times. I always expected that a healing journey was going to be so more about the glow up. But then if the glow up comes, what happens with the pain that you're still feeling? Because you're not going to get that satisfaction of showing the person what they lost, is not going to last that long. Because then you're still going to have to go home. You're going to have to you're still crying. You're alone. And you're still dealing with the pain and the questions and the frustration. But imagine if you heal your inner being first, and you find your worth, you find your value, your self-love and your self-trust, that when the physical changes comes, you are so at peace and you are so content with where you are in your life. nothing can shake you. That when people, and it's now that I always learned this, because I've allowed God to take me through my healing journey, I have complete, utter compassion for the people that has hurt me in my life. I have complete compassion and peace and forgiveness for them, but just to pray for them. Just to pray for them, because what if you're the only person that prays for them? What if you're the only person that would intercede for them when they're going through dangers and through challenges in their life? And sometimes that's what God wants you to do, not because you're going to be with the person in the future, but sometimes because they need it. And sometimes I've gotten to a place right now where I say to God, I don't want this anymore. Before, in the beginning, yes, I wanted it. I thought I needed it, and I thought I still wanted it. But right now, where I am in my life, I don't want it anymore. I don't want anything that is going to jeopardize me and the hard work I've put on healing myself. I don't want it anymore. I've grown so contented, and I've already made peace with the fact that this is not going to be a forever. Let it stay that way if it is in your will. Don't let it come back into my life if it's going to cause me to rip myself apart again when all the pieces are together and it's just the scars the linings or the tears that needs to heal. Don't let it be that. Don't let it be that way. Letting God guide you and letting God heal you. He transforms you in ways that is unimaginable. He transforms you and changes you in ways that is beyond my imagination. It is beyond my imagination. I cannot tell you guys how many times me and my siblings were speaking about this before. When God shows you dreams of how valuable you are, compared to a diamond ring, we've had dreams like this, and we have tried to search for these rings or these diamonds specifically everywhere, but you cannot find it. That is how rare and how valuable. That is how God showed us how valuable we are. You are so valuable that even if you try and searching for this diamond ring you saw in your dreams, you can't find it. Just imagine that. Just imagine that. Nothing beyond compared to anything that I've ever felt in my life before. Officially, guys, this brings us to the end of yet another video. If you guys like this video and this little motivation, I felt so inspired and encouraged to do this video. I don't know who needs this video, who needed this reminder or this encouragement, but let it be yours today. I hope that God leads you and that God guides you, and the right people will watch this at the right time and at the right moment. Just let it be a sign, not from me, but an encouragement from God himself to you, allowing God to heal you and really trusting you. Let me know in the comments what you guys thought of this video, and I'm happy to see more of your experiences and your lessons that you've learned from who God is in your life and how God has healed you in your life with our Instagram and the Gracefully Growing Instagram page, where I will share a lot of inspos and encouragements on that page where you need it day by day when I'm not posting videos of encouragements as much. And without further ado, let me know in the comments what you guys think, and I love you guys. God bless you, and I will see you in the next one.